Welcome back on this channel. We talk about difficult conversations, tough talks that people aren't really talking about, that people aren't really saying from a truth perspective. Okay. So, in this video, I'm going to be talking about this post I ran across. 26-year-old woman sues ex husband for wasting her youth. Okay. And we just going to touch on, should women be able to sue men for wasting their time, wasting their youth, X, Y, and Z, and touch on different things. This is not the woman in the picture. This is AI. You already know AI's and everything now, and everybody's using it. So, but I don't know what she looks like, but it's just a post. I'm just gonna go ahead and read the caption. She met him at 20, married him at 21, and believed every promise he made about love, kids, and building a future together. Now, at 26, after 6 years of a failed marriage, she's suing him for wasting her youth. The case, reported by Bree Avery Zachary, has sparked debate. Can you really sue someone for wasting your time in a relationship? Her lawsuit accuses her ex husband of emotional distress, loss of opportunity, and robbing her of her prime years under false hopes. No home, no legacy, just broken dreams, time she can't get back. Or is this just the emotional cost of love when it doesn't last? Is this accountability or entitlement? Okay, so I'm going to just touch on a few things real quick, and then I'm gonna go over some of the comments about what other people are saying. Also, I would love to hear from you in the comments as well. On this channel, I talk about vetting a man. One of the key things I've noticed is having a man of God, okay, a real man of God. I don't know her whole situation. There's so many details that have been left out, but there are a lot of people that are moving around without real ramifications for their actions. So if this woman is going to be allowed to sue this man and then potentially win, then there needs to be other topics that need to be touched on, like paternity fraud. Okay, probably comparatively just as bad, if not worse, because it involves a whole nother person that you've brought into the world that now is traumatized because whom they thought was their father isn't their father. Those men that have to go through those things in divorce in general, okay, just in general off of divorce, okay, this system is set up against men in general, okay? And in my opinion, I feel like marriage that includes the government, okay, contractual marriage with the government, because it's not just you and your partner, it's you, your partner, and Uncle Sam. So that's a scam to me. That's a scam to me. The system is automatically set up that they want thank you, Holy Spirit. They want Uncle Sam to be the baby dad. They want Uncle Sam. That's why a lot of women are more free to, become single mothers, and they know that they can get food stamps, they can get housing, they can get a whole bunch of help. All these different states, like California, for example, someone told me that if you're a single mom out in Cali, they just throw everything out at you. And it seems like it's to help you, but in reality, it's to separate Adam and Eve. Okay. They don't help out the man. The man always typically loses in the divorce. I'm not saying there aren't, those circumstances where women lose out or have to pay alimony or whatever the case is. But when it comes to the man, they're the ones that end up paying more and potentially losing everything through divorce. That's why a lot of men right now aren't even interested in marriage, even though marriage itself isn't the issue. Okay, it's the fact that the government has used it algorithmically against both Adam and Eve, because if you don't have the father in the picture, that's creating a soft generation. It's creating a generation of fatherless. And the reason why I'm bringing up all of this and why it is relevant to this situation is because women do lack accountability. We don't know the full extent of this story, but at the end of the day, you do choose who you lay down with. Okay, yes, there are definitely men out there that lie, cheat, create this false idea, use women as a stepping stone, all of that. I'm not saying that they're not there's men that's not doing that the right thing, and I want to touch on that as well. But I really feel like these are things that should be talked about, because there are, good women out there that do, choose a man and they've been lied to or whatever the case is, because it's a lot of emotional investment as a woman to be in a relationship. It's a lot of emotional investment and a lot of things that you have to do to upkeep, because a woman's value is based off of her looks in the society. And there's just so many things. And I feel like this falls under, if you're not choosing the right man correctly, you can inevitably end up losing out on your prime years. You could end up losing out on yourself. And it's more of a just a warning to think twice before you just reach for the quote unquote high value man. Look deeper than just the finances, and also look at what, not say that this is what this woman did, but also look at what exactly is about, like whom, because that's why, like, it really, like, at the end of the day, it just comes down to morally, what are their beliefs, what are they about. That stuff matters. It absolutely matters. That's really what I had to say about it. As far as like if she should sue or not, listen, I think that whole having the government into your marriage is a scam to begin with. But I also think there's just a lot of stuff left out of the situation. Now, of course, if the man is being, unfaithful or doing something that's really unfair, like violence, then that's another type of situation. But I know that there's certain states where you can sue for infidelity, and I think that is fair. I feel like there shouldn't be this thing where it's not taken seriously. There shouldn't be this thing where it's not like a serious situation. But I had a bad relationship, but I knew that as much as there were things that were wrong on his part as far as like what was happening, I did choose him at the end of the day. Like, there had to be some type of red flag. There had to be something indicating like that he wasn't going to come through with any of those promises. Like, how is it that you just don't have, like, there's just so many things that aren't being touched on. But I'm going to go ahead and read some of the comments. One of the comments says, I agree with this lawsuit. Some men have no shame for wasting a woman's best years. So it's a lot of one-sided comment. This one says, I think more women need to start doing this. The amount of emotional stress and time that you cannot get back, there isn't a price that you can put on that. Okay. There's another one, almost 99% of women need to file this. Another comment says, someone tag her lawyer when she wins. Another comment says, I'm rooting for her. I want to collect for all of us. Another comment, if this woman can sue, so many men should be able to sue a whole list of BS. Thank you. Yes, that is very true. List of BS that women have done. Can the man sue for dinner dates paid for a woman who only wanted a free meal? Can a man sue for faking loving? Can a man sue for faking loving a man just to get his finances? Can a man sue a woman who put a baby on him that isn't his child? Can a man sue for marrying a woman who only wanted the title of wife while not being a wife to the man? Trust that if a woman can sue for this, men would be allowed to sue for way more. And like I said in the beginning of the video, I agree. Like, if we're gonna be, suing people for wasting your time and stuff like that, it should be both ways. Okay, it should be both ways, because men typically go through the most if a woman divorces. If a woman decides to marry with Uncle Sam, being a contractual marriage according to the American way, then the system is automatically set up to just side with the woman. Now there are going to be laws that are going to be implemented, as far as I've heard, where, paternity is being something that is being required now, and a lot of women are panicking because it's a different type of evil to have a seed in you growing, and or you aren't sure if the man that you're with is the father. I'm not gonna lie, that's a different type of demonic. Okay, that's very manipulative, and it's just like for you to sit there breastfeeding or whatever, feeding your baby, he's bonding and imprinting, they're creating this relationship, and then you're just like, or you are questioning the validity of him being the father. That should be definitely suable, because yeah. And then the comments underneath this says, you can definitely sue, but you probably won't win because you're a man. Y'all buy the rings and choose these broads. It's just up to them to accept it.
And I just want to point out, it's going to sound crazy, but if I know certain information, I have to say it. Like, I saw a video that there were people in hell with wedding rings that were getting their finger chopped off, and it like regrew. There's like an old video of a guy saying his testimony that he saw in hell. Now, I don't know if this is completely factual, but I don't know about you, but I'm not taking any risks when it comes to my salvation or potential salvation. So just let you know. But back to the video.
So the same energy, that women have with the whole, you chose this woman, that's the same energy that needs to go in for the, it's only fair. It's only the truth, honestly, because I'm not biased, okay? If we all have a choice in this thing. We all have a decision in this thing. You are not forced to get married. You're not God gave us free will. So if you chose somebody, if you ignored the red flags, everybody's different. Everybody's not, having that relationship with the Most High. That's why I said, if that really, not to say that that nothing can happen, but that really dictates a lot in your life, whether you're going to be deceived or not. Because even in my past toxic relationship that I chose, like, God will give me dreams, red flags in your face, just straight up telling me like, and I would ignore the red flags. And there are consequences that come along with ignoring what your maker is telling you. Okay. And if he has grace and mercy, which he definitely is very gracious. He's definitely merciful. It's overflowing, but not everybody can make it out of that. That's why you see the people on ID investigations and the violence that you hear, is because those are women or men that did not take heed to the red flags, to the warnings, and it just ended up being too late, tragically. So it needs to be a both way type of thing. I do agree that yes, there are men out there that, just the same way that he just described, will lie to a woman, will make these false promises, and then after they get married, switch up. It can happen. It can happen. And a lot of men get away with it. You don't have to even be married. Get away with wasting a woman's time.
Of course, no one really does, because God is always watching. They get it sometime, whether it's, a year from now, 10 years from now, but it's just something that people feel like there's no ramifications or consequences for their actions.
Lying to women, doing certain things, because as a woman, we're, the receivers. We have to, that's why it's so important. I said, to value your virtue, because if you're just giving it out to any and nobody, you're taking in all of that baggage and emotional wear and tear on your body. You know what I'm saying? Like, if you are with a toxic man, they'll suck your energy. Okay. You can look one way going into the relationship and then look another way going out. It's just like that. You could really become drained physically, mentally, spiritually by a toxic relationship, and that goes both ways. But the difference with other women is that they were told to move on. Yes, it should be equal. It might make people stop and think. That's what that's what I was thinking too. Like, if there were like legal ramifications to wasting somebody's time, I feel like just maybe less people would be like so advantageous to just go ahead and just disrespect somebody's time, because a lot of people now are on demon time. This is the comment. I did just want to point out though that everything you describe also happens to women, so men should be able to sue for way more. Good for her. I hope she wins. This is what comment says. Good for her. I hope she wins. This is valid. I just want, what's the statute of limitations on this claim? Because I need to file too. So do men get their money back? Yeah. So a lot of men, because men are, seen as like the provider and stuff like that. And men have to go through a lot of rejection, and their emotions and feelings aren't really thought about in general in this society. Men have a higher self-deletion rate. Men have to go through it. There a lot of things because they're told they have to just, take it. And a lot of men don't experience the real love of a woman because a lot of women are losing their nurturing. But with all that being said, that's why God put it on me to create a book, Value of Virtue. Basically just going over some things that if I had known, I would have avoided a lot of the pitfalls that comes with not understanding that laying down with someone is spiritual. It's a soul tie, especially if you're not married. It's just you're creating a situation where you could end up as a single mom. Okay. And a lot of these little girls out here don't know the truth. They don't know what's really going on. They're being indoctrinated by these women who are on TV that saying hop around, be with multiple men, build your bench, explore sexuality, and just be loose. And really, you should be pushing for exclusivity. Body's a temple of God. Like women, whenever you talk about being a virgin and being exclusive, and you're happy that you didn't just go and you didn't just go and sleep with a whole bunch of men. The women that have been run through get angry. Okay, they get really angry instead of stop what you're doing and putting and giving advice, essentially, because there are a lot of young women that can learn from you, and your life isn't over if you've been run through. Like, it just is what it is. But God looks at us in a different light. But I also have another book, Melanated and Expecting. It's not going to be a year book about learning how to hold a baby or anything like that, but it's essentially going over the plots and plans of the governments, the pharmacia companies against your youths. Has a slew of information that if I had known would have prevented a lot of consequences that I'm still dealing with today, but it could have been worse, and God is getting us through. But with all that being said, pick up your Bible. I recommend the King James Version and really seek the Most High, not in all the same order. Like, seek Him because He's available for the moment. Okay, we are in the last days, and God's love is unlike anything else. And if He loves me, He definitely loves you. Okay, so be blessed.